What's going on, everybody? This is Billy Truelove with Podcast 1558. Got a very special guest here with me to preview our Week 4 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. We got Johnny Uleka from All About the Birds on Twitter. Johnny, thank you for taking this time to sit down with me and preview this game. I know we're both coming off of some pretty rough weeks. 2 division losses. We both just took a division L. Where's the, as the Eagles fan base, you got the Chiefs coming to town after that game, which it kind of got away from the Eagles there. So I don't know if that's a great representation of this team right now, of your squad. How are Eagles fans feeling right now?
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you having us on this podcast. But the feeling around Philadelphia and around the surrounding areas, it's not very good. Seems like people knew it was going to be a developmental year, and they knew it was let's see what this team can be, and it's going to be there's going to be growing pains. But again, Monday morning happens, and what do you hear on? Unfortunately, I turned sports talk radio, which in Philadelphia is not very good. It's pretty bad, honestly. It happened to be on, and they were talking about firing everybody, and this team stinks and everything. And it's pretty funny because apparently you're not allowed to have any type of hiccups or stuff like that. And I said, you know what, this is pretty interesting. It's pretty funny. You have a 40-year-old head coach, and I took a look back, 1999, when the Eagles had your head coach Andy Reid as a 41-year-old rookie head coach. Week 3, they just had lost 26-0 to the Buffalo Bills, and I looked at old newspaper clippings. I like to go dig in pretty deep and look at things a little bit deeper than others. But it was funny because the newspaper article was, "Is Andy Reid the right choice with the way the offense is run?" and stuff like that. And it's funny because it gives you that kind of is he the right one? And you look years later, of course, Eagles did not win a Super Bowl with Andy Reid, but they had so much success with him as a head coach and what he was able to do, and then going into Kansas City and what he is able to do and what he is doing now. It's just really funny. Like the mood around Philadelphia is the Eagles are going to get smacked. They're going to get beaten. They look terrible. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have. It's a lot of Debbie Downers, and to me it's a little frustrating because we knew going in what this year was going to be, but people just can be so over the top. And the way I kind of put it is, you're walking in the road, or you're walking and or you're driving, there's a speed bump. You hit a speed bump, you go over it, it's not going to be smooth. The problem is this year is going to be some speed bumps, and if you expect it just to be a smooth sailing ride through the each of these games, you're fooling yourself.
Yeah, wrong sport for that. Anything can happen any given Sunday. And just like you said, the talking heads are crazy. Because after week 1, everyone had a pretty good attitude about the Eagles. ESPN, FS1, they were saying, whoa, shit, this Eagles team is not what we thought. This is, and they're legit. And they may not have been wrong, but yes, as Chiefs fans, we're right there with you. We've had a couple of real bad weeks where we can score some points, but it just looks weird. Nothing's working defensively, and the sky hasn't quite started falling here yet. But this is the week where the sky could absolutely fall in Kansas City by halftime. Going into this game, obviously there's the only big storyline, Andy Reid, who, after the loss to the Chargers, had a little medical scare. He did leave the game in an ambulance. They checked him out. He was dehydrated. It was a very hot day in Kansas City. So, maybe the team rallies around him. It's not like he, almost died necessarily, but you know what I mean. Players like to rally around their coach, and trying to get that 100th win on his second team, going full circle against his first team. It is what it is. Sometimes those storylines can give a team a boost. This team absolutely needs a boost right now in Kansas City. And we may just be the team that Philly needs for that boost as well right now. Because if you can get a win against Patrick Mahomes, you're going to feel good about it, especially right now with a young quarterback like Jalen Hurts. Let me tell you what the problems, if Eagles fans aren't aware, our defense is struggling. It's always been this thing where this defense just needs to come up with a handful of stops and that the offense will get it done from there. And that's just not the way it's been this season. The offense isn't closing the deal. It's really just kind of shit in the bed when it matters the most. So the defense is kind of in a weird spot that it is being successful the way we want it to be, but then we lose, so we like to blame anything. We can blame whatever we want on anyone but Patrick. He's exempt from blame, and honestly, last week it was on him. So let me ask you, I know what can beat this Chiefs team. What is the pass rush situation like in Philly right now?
So, of course, Brandon Graham is out for the season, tore his Achilles against San Francisco. So you do not have him. It's a big blow. He's a leader in that defense. He's a tremendous run stopper on the defensive end. But the way you look at their defense is they have a veteran, Ryan Kerrigan, and he hasn't shown as much as you would think. Derek Barnett, and then they have Josh Sweat. Derek Barnett seems to cause more penalties than he does sacks, so the last couple of weeks have not been real well with him. But the interior, their defensive line, to me, I'm going to say it's one of the best in the league. Javon Hargrave has been absolutely manhandling interior offensive linemen the past 3 weeks. And Fletcher Cox, he's not what he was. He's not a superstar, but he's still a very talented interior player that can get pressure and that can cause havoc on interior offensive linemen. And they have some other guys like Milton Williams, who's a rookie. For me, the defensive line, I think, is still a strength for them, just because they still have some depth there. But again, you need to. I'm not gonna say cause pass rush or pressure, because Mahomes can always make anything out of nothing. But again, that could be a little bit of a detriment playing hero ball. But my thing is to try to get up in his face interior wise,
Yep.
through the middle, cause that type of pressure. But it's tough, because you want to see Brandon Graham out there because he's been for so many years and what he can do. Unfortunately, he won't be there, but I still think this defensive line is the strength of this Eagles defense.
And Fletcher Cox, he is an animal. He is an absolute animal. And for Eagles fans hearing this, what you guys probably aren't familiar with this team is, if you saw the Super Bowl, the offensive line was the problem. We couldn't stop anything. Well, since week 1 now, we have got 5 new starters on this line, 2 of which are rookies. Our center, Creed Humphrey, is a rookie. Our right guard, Trey Smith, is a rookie. Then our right tackle, Lucas Niang, got drafted last year in 2020 but opted out. So it's his first year starting too. And if you can send 4 pass rushers and drop 7 defenders, this offense just sucks. It can't get going right now. And the offensive line is just going through these growing pains. So we're about as vulnerable as we've ever been offensively right now. So we're trying to answer and respond with running the ball, which you guys are probably very familiar with. You just don't know what you're going to get with Andy week in and week out as far as running the ball goes. We got 17 rushes out of Clyde Edwards-Helaire last week. He put up 100 yards. We ended up losing the game. So we're not excited we ran for 100 yards. We were running the ball because LA was just letting us run the ball. And why not? If you want to beat us, let us do it any other way than Patrick just getting you for 12 yards a pop. And if Philly has the right guys to send 4 pass rushers at us and drop those 7, I don't know. If you can get pressure, it could be curtains early. because I don't know how our defense is going to handle Jalen Hurts. It's kind, and I don't know what Jalen Hurts we're going to get. I think, he's obviously got a couple of skill sets. He can move. He can move around on his own. I think Miles Sanders is very underrated. I love Miles Sanders.
If they use him, they only rushed him. He only had 2 rushes last week.
My goodness, and
Yeah.
and how, and that is a question that is so crazy, and I don't know how you guys are loving this new coach, but I did see that 2 rushes, averaging 12 yards a clip too.
Yeah.
Why do you stop running that? Where are you guys at with this new coach? How do you feel so far?
So, like on our show, I'm the more optimistic.
Cool.
I try and look a little bit at the bright side. Yeah, I get frustrated. If you listen to me, during our shows, and you would listen to me watching a game, it's like a Jekyll and Hyde. I can get a little, emotional watching games. It's just that's how you are,
Yeah.
fandom and stuff. But
Hell
you know,
yeah.
it's I'm willing to give him opportunity. It's his 3rd
Yeah.
game. He's never really called plays in the NFL as well. So there's a lot of growing pains that you're going to have, unfortunately. And a lot of fans don't like to hear that and don't like to see that. They wanted someone to be firing all cylinders 24/7. It just doesn't
Yep.
work that way. So
Does not.
I liked his motto. I like his charisma. I like that kind of that with him, building character, with this team and holding people accountable and coming out and saying it's my fault, I gotta, that's on me, and stuff like that. And um, I just think I think a little people get carried away. Like when he had his first press conference, they were all over him. He's not the fit. He can't even hold a press conference, which I think is the most asinine thing
Yeah,
in the world.
that's, it really
Who
got
cares
nothing
how
to do
somebody
with the
talks in
job.
the media? Who cares how someone talks in the media?
Yeah.
It really, you have presidents who can talk who aren't very good presidents. So,
Yeah.
To me, it doesn't really matter. It matters when you get in that building and you game plan and you go and you week in and week out try to get better as a football team.
Yep.
So it's and that's the thing, and that's what we're gonna see this week. Last week was a big letdown. You thought the game was gonna be a lot closer, rivalry, and they just were outmatched. They were, Dallas came out and just pounded it down their throats, and they beat them, and they beat them pretty handily. And to me, I think you have to come out and against the Chiefs team where they had deficiencies on defense. So you have to come out and game plan and to be able to attack the weaknesses and to be able to do it successfully.
Yep, absolutely. And, hopefully we'll see something the Chiefs can correct, which hasn't been a problem for them really since Patrick has come on, and I think that's why it's such a shot to the jaw right now is we can't stop turning the ball over.
Yeah.
And it's knucklehead moves, and it's guys that have never fumbled putting the ball on the ground. And we just can't get out of our own way. And
But that's the biggest thing with that's the biggest thing with the Chiefs though is the turnovers, because with a defense that is struggling, and even the past couple of seasons, the defense hasn't been great. They've been almost a bend, but not break. But when you can put up over 30 points a game, you can get by that. But when you're turning the ball over, 2+ times, 2+ times, and giving the opposing offense extra possessions against your defense, that is now where you're seeing the issues starting to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, no, you were absolutely right, and this has really been kind of death row for us, which, any Chiefs fan a month ago was saying we'll go 3-0, we'll go 4-0. But we're damn near 0-3 right now, getting the Browns, getting the Ravens, getting the Chargers. I'm just like, my goodness, no disrespect to the Eagles, but I'm like, thank God this isn't this glooming AFC powerhouse. I mean, we were one bad snap away in week 1 from being 0-3. Cleveland beat us for 58 minutes in that game. And they are the ones that ended up making the mistakes. And you can't do that with us either. Or you can't keep us around. If you're going to let us hang around, don't make mistakes. And they let us hang around, and it bit them in the ass. And then we just haven't been able to capitalize on any mistakes or anything these past 2 weeks. And I really think if Jalen Hurts can really just control what's going on and don't turn the ball over, obviously, and don't make any huge mistakes, They could probably keep Patrick off the field quite a bit in this game, which that's really a winning recipe for any team. If you can keep, hell, if we can keep Hurts off the field, we will do so. Um, but I just don't know if this offense, it's having to learn how to tick in a different way. Running the ball just isn't something we're used to doing, and now we kind of have to do it while this line figures itself out. So you did mention Dallas ran the ball. They ran it well. Ezekiel Elliott, obviously not the standard model running back in the NFL. He is legit, and Tony Pollard's nice as well. Is it that you guys are struggling to stop the run in general, or do you think they just had they had the right game plan and they had the right guys?
So the way their game plan was is Dak looked at the defense, and what the Eagles wanted to do was take away the big play. So when you take away the big play, you play too high safety. So when they dropped the too high safety look in there, Dallas did was basically was a head on ahead, and they ran the ball, and they got chunk yards, 5, 6, 7, and sometimes they broke 10+ yard runs, and when they creeped and put a guy in the box, then they would start throwing the ball a little bit. So there wasn't too much of a disguise. There was a lot of, and there was also a lot of zone coverage, which I know Jonathan Gannon for the Eagles likes to do, is a little bit more of the zone coverage schemes. But the thing is, with what happened was they weren't getting the great pass rush. They weren't getting a ton of pressure. And what happens there is, Prescott, you play zone, they're just going to sit down in the zone, and they're just going to pick you apart. And I think that was a lot to it. And of course, Dallas's offensive line is no slouch. They're pretty good when they're healthy.
Shit. Yeah.
They're good. Zach Martin up front there, and you have Tyron Smith, and even Connor Williams is improved, and Tyler Biadasz. You have guys that is really good. Now I think the Chiefs struggles. I know Orlando Brown has a groin injury, so I'm not sure how he's progressing through this week. I still expect him to play, but if he's not 100%, you have they are struggling in there, because you said Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. Now the Eagles do have also a rookie offensive lineman in Landon Dickerson, and they lost Sayamalo. They're shuffling up because Jordan Mailata's not there, so their offensive line is going to be shuffled as well. But I think if they're able to get the pressure interior-wise and to be able to stop the run and make, I'm not going to say make Patrick beat you, because he can easily just beat you, pick you apart. I don't think I don't think that Kansas City is going to have issues scoring points. Now, my thing is you're going to need to create 1 or 2 turnovers. I think that's basically that's evident. You need to be able to force turnover to get an extra possession. And that's how I feel on that. But I want to look a little bit at the Kansas City defense. We talked about it. We mentioned about their defense, and they're not as strong. And I think an underrated thing, I think, is the players that they lost this offseason. And in terms of Breland wasn't a great corner, but he's a veteran. You lost him.
And that's a Super Bowl winning cornerback at this point as well.
Exactly. Yeah. A guy like Damian Wilson, who was a veteran as well. Interior, he's with the Jaguars now. I think he's with the Jaguars now. Willie Gay's hurt.
Yeah.
And I know I loved him when he was coming out of the draft. I wanted the Eagles to draft him. I thought just what he can do on the field and the speed he has on the field, and what he can do. And I just think it's Passanio. Is that how you say his name?
Well, he's another one that we lost. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
He went to New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, and then Mike Pennell, which I know he was just
lost him, but he was a very good run stopper.
So, and I think it's an underrated look, because you also look, Frank Clark's been in and out. He played just I think one game, right? The Baltimore game. So he's hurt, and if he's not healthy, he's he's the best pass rusher. With Chris Jones, who's I know not 100% as well. But then you look at the other defensive linemen that they have they're thrown out there, and Mike Dana, and they have I know Joshua Kamdo from Florida State.
Yeah, and we've got Alex Okafor.
Alex Okafor is a journeyman defensive end, and then you look at the linebacker Nick Bolton, their rookie. He struggled a little bit, which again, rookies are gonna struggle. They're gonna have their growing pains. So, he's struggling a little bit there, and Then you look at the secondary, and of course Tyrann Mathieu is, he's super as a player. He's
Yeah.
such a good player. But you look at the corners, and DeAndre Baker, and then I know Fenton had a concussion, correct? I think
Yeah.
he didn't practice, so they're shuffling up L'Jarius Sneed, and they're shuffling up their secondary, and I just feel that, and I know you could look at the numbers and how much their defense is struggling, and I feel that this is a game where the Eagles can take advantage and to try and keep up with Kansas City's offense,
No,
because that's what you're
you're
gonna need to
absolutely right.
do. That's what you're gonna need to do to win the game. You're gonna need to score 30 plus points, and to hopefully edge out, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And so when you guys are watching this game this weekend, something that has just irritated the bejesus out of most of our Chiefs fans is, like you said, Tyrann Mathieu, probably the best defensive player on the team. But if not, it's Chris Jones. Chris Jones is probably the second best defensive tackle in football. In these parts, he is. There's Aaron Donald and there's Chris Jones. And we paid him as such. And when you're watching Sunday, we have moved this building of a person to play defensive end, and it isn't working. It just isn't working. They had kind of told us that this was going to be a situational move, which I like that. Passing down, things like that. You want to give them a different look, push Chris outside. I like it. But he's just really been out there exclusively. And some teams have been able to make him look stupid. And that's really the only fundamental, massive change this defense has made. We've got a lot of our core guys back that, I really think if you got Tyrann and you've got Chris Jones and Frank Clark, you've got your core. And now you've got Chris Jones. He may as well be playing fucking wide receiver right now because it just doesn't look right. And you can get, especially guys like Jalen Hurts, if Chris Jones, we brought in Jarran Reed in the offseason from
right,
Seattle,
Jarran Reed, I
which
forgot
everyone
that.
was very excited about. And we were very excited about the idea of him playing directly next to Chris Jones. And now we've moved Chris Jones, and we're like, well, Jarran Reed's not getting any push. Well, he's not getting a Chris Jones push that you're used to, and you shouldn't expect that. So it's very, very weird that that's happening. I think if Chris Jones and Jarran Reed inside, they could easily. I'm a big Jason Kelsey fan, but I do think that Jones and Reed could move Jalen Hurts out of the pocket. And then guys like Mike Dana and Frank Clark, they can easily have more opportunities at getting to Jalen. But if a quarterback can just step into that pocket, which people are able to do on us right now, because we got no inside push, it just makes this young secondary struggle, and it keeps everything from ticking the way you want it to. If you can make a quarterback speed up, everything else is much easier. We were down Charvarius Ward, who's really our number one corner last week, down Willie Gay, like you said, and down Frank Clark. Don't really know if we're going to have any of those guys back this week. So you've got L'Jarius Sneed, who we believe can be a superstar. And then maybe we don't have Fenton. So you got DeAndre Baker and Mike Hughes, a couple of super high-ceiling guys that we were able to get, but currently really low floors as well because we just don't know, and they don't have the experience. I would really hope it's L'Jarius Sneed that's on Devontae Smith this weekend because we know that dude is a bad man. I don't know what we're going to do with that.
I'm going to give you this tidbit. There's another receiver, not named Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins.
Yes.
And
Goodness.
He absolutely flies.
Burns.
And the thing is, he catches what's thrown to him as well. So I think he's going to get a lot more play, especially, unfortunately, their first-round pick last year, Jalen Reagor, has just, he has struggled.
I think he's coming around, though. I think he's slowly
He's coming around. I think he fits more on the inside in the slot. So you put Watkins outside, you put him in the slot, and you have Devontae on the other side. But I just want to see, a little bit more of the run game and to be able to use the run game to be able to set up the pass game as well. To be able to use your tight ends with Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz and to be able to try to, attack this defense because we know it's struggling and to be
Yeah.
able to, you know, what's good for a struggling offense is a defense that's struggling to hopefully get you out of your funk. And
Yeah.
the last couple of weeks, the last 2 weeks have been such a struggle for the Eagles because that San Francisco game was such a winnable game, and so many missed opportunities that they had, and Jalen Rager steps out of bounds on a touchdown catch that's it's basically an incomplete pass at that point, and then they wind up getting a field goal blocked, and then they have a 91-yard catch by Watkins. They get a pass interference in the end zone the next play after a penalty. They have the ball on the 1, 4 tries, they can't even punch it in. So right there, then you turn over on downs. Right there, you lost points. Points to you most likely would have won the game. So for me, I think that's tough because a young team and a young coaching staff to lose those kind of games, is tough, especially when you have like a murderer's row of a schedule coming up with the Chiefs and the Panthers and the Bucks and the Raiders all the next couple of weeks. So you have an absolute, you could wind up being 1-6 by the time you play the Detroit Lions. So it is not easy, and that's why, unfortunately, you get a team, the Chiefs, who are down right now in terms of 1-2, but it ain't really what you want them to be, is down, because what happens is a team who's angry and down and knows that their record is not really who they are, that could be a little bit of a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. Well, so Johnny, before I let you get out of here, so obviously everyone in Philly wants to come out with a win. After seeing them for 3 weeks, and I mean, you're well aware of some of the problems the Chiefs have. What is the easier said than done scenario that needs to unfold for Philly to win on Sunday?
I think what needs to happen is, one, they need to get at least 1 or 2 turnovers. And they have to stay turnover free. So
Yeah.
they have to be in the plus area of the turnover margin. And they're going to need to be able to expose the Kansas City defense. They're going to need to be able to score, and I'm going to say they need to score over 30 points if they want to have any chance of winning this game. So, that's the one thing that two things that I think need to happen for them to have a chance to beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. I'm right there with you. I think if I had to say what Philly needs to do, it would be also run the ball, because we just can't stop it.
That's a lot of what Philly's going to be screaming too. They've been screaming it the last couple of days all over Twitter and everything. It's about running the ball and making sure you are being able to, set up the pass by running the ball. They want the ball to be. They want you to run the ball.
Bit of a three-headed monster. You got Miles Sanders. Obviously, Hurts can do what he wants to do. You got Gainwell, who's a nice change of pace guy. Yeah, I mean, I think Philly definitely has the pieces to run the ball, but they just have to go do it. You have to. I mean, Miles Sanders, if he touches the ball twice on the ground Sunday, Philly is putting themselves at a disadvantage. That is a dude that can do his thing. If he touches the ball 20 times Sunday, the Chiefs are going to be struggling, and the offense won't be on the field much for us.
The other funny thing is, Andy Reid's coming back to Philly and everything. Well, today the Eagles announced that at halftime they're going to be, LaShawn McCoy signing a one-day contract, retiring as an Eagle. So at halftime they're going to have LaShawn McCoy on the field for, the retirement, stuff like that. So I think that's a little, with Andy Reid coming back to town, possibly his 100th win, they want to kind of, turn
That's
it.
Andy's
and
boy
say,
too. That's Andy's boy.
So, it's gonna be a nice thing to see that. I'm glad he's retiring as an Eagle, but that's just it's good for him to be able to kind of close the chapter in his football life. And be able to unfortunately go on a high note. Unfortunately, was traded away from this team when he should not have been, and it's a sad thing to think about. But it's a good thing. It'll be a fun thing that he'll be celebrating.
Yeah, that'll be cool. That'll be an awesome thing for the fans to see. Congrats, Shady McCoy, on the career. We had a little bit of fun with him there for a little while when he came to Kansas City, and then got a ring with us. Didn't have to do much for it, and then went to Tampa Bay, got
They didn't
another
have to
one,
do it.
and
They didn't
his
have to
little
do much for
retirement tour was pretty friendly to him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, I'm with you. I think that's how Philly can win. The Chiefs got to get back to being the Chiefs. Tyreek Hill is going to have some say in this game. He's coming off 2 games in a row where he's really just not been involved. And kind of like how I wanted to say about Quez Watkins, he's not a guy that you have to throw it deep to him. Just get it in his goddamn hands because he is so fast. That guy is electric off of a screen pass. Watkins can fly. And got to see that firsthand. And the first time I saw him was this preseason. I just said, holy smokes, this dude can burn. Tyreek Hill's got to get back in that. If you guys are going to play 2 high safety all day and drop everyone and just send 4, then I don't know how we're going to beat it, but we have to figure it out. And Andy Reid has to call this game in a way that will allow us to win. Keep an eye on our right tackle, Lucas Niang. I thought he was just getting beat up most of Sunday, and they did nothing. We got Mike Remmers. We got a veteran right tackle over there who could have easily just said, look, keep this thing on track. And they just decided to let Lucas Niang drown, and I've just been pissed off about it since Sunday. But that is what it is. Not going to get a prediction from you. I do think the Chiefs get back on track this week. At least I hope. It's not like I'd come on here and say, well, this is probably it. But I do think this is a good game for Andy. Go back home, get your mind right. Go see your friends. Go get a win and come back to Kansas City. We have the Buffalo Bills at night. Sunday night football after Philly. God damn. So we have to get things back on track quickly. No better way to do that than the NFC East. So
You're not lying there. I'm telling you, you're not lying there.
thank goodness. It's not going to get any easier for us. Okay, well then before I let you get out of here real quick, let me get a way too early Super Bowl prediction from you.
So now we did that on our show, and I had the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Actually, I think I have my list right over here. So, that in handy. I had the list right there. All my notes are all here, all rumbled together. But
Yeah.
so my Super Bowl pick, I had Seattle versus the Buffalo Bills, and I had the Buffalo Bills winning it.
Nice.
So
Like that. That's an exciting Super Bowl.
last year, I picked the Bills to win it all, and I was almost laughed off of my show. I
They
picked.
came into Kansas City and got their ass whooped in that AFC Championship game.
So I had them winning last year. They came close. Nobody thought they were going to do much of what they did. So I'm just going to give you this because you may not like my sleeper pick for this year, because my sleeper is the Denver Broncos.
I've been saying all offseason, they have to get away from Drew Lock, and they got to let Teddy just drive the car. The only thing, I'm with you, I think that team has more than enough to get it done. When it comes down to getting in a possible shootout, I don't know if Teddy's going to have that extra gear for it.
That's going to be tough, especially now, Jerry Judy's out and KJ Hamler just got hurt. So, the weapons are starting to dwindle there. But, they have a hell of a defense when healthy.
I do think they beat Baltimore this week, though.
Yeah, I agree, too. I think Baltimore's just so beat up, and they've gotten lucky. The last 2 weeks, they've gotten very, very lucky to win those games. The luck's going to run out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think where it stands for me right now in the Super Bowl, I'm going to still say the Chiefs get this thing rolling because I'm not too scared of a lot of the teams in the AFC right now. Outside, Buffalo is the team. I'm still not scared of Cleveland or Baltimore. I think if they get us on our best day, we handle them. But for me, it's the Rams in the NFC. The LA Rams, I think, are the best team in football right now.
Yeah, they're just so high-powered.
And you can't help but be happy for Matt Stafford to get out of the Detroit Zoo and go get to play football for once.
No, it's great for him to be able to showcase what a lot of people thought when they was drafted to Detroit, and what, he had Calvin Johnson, and he had some weapons there. It's just they didn't really help them, and really they're basically the purgatory of the NFL. People go there and they just float
Yeah,
there. There's
and that's where
really,
talent goes to die. We'll never see Jared Goff again.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah,
Barry Sanders.
he's
Barry
toast.
Sanders.
Yeah,
Barry
who cares?
Sanders right there. You just so.
And then last question, give me your personally, not the world's favorite, your greatest Philadelphia Eagle of all time.
So an easy one would say Reggie White, but I'm gonna go with
Okay, that
personal.
was gonna be my guess.
I'm gonna go personal experience because I didn't watch Reggie White play.
Yeah.
I'm only 30, so
Cool.
the player that I watched and that I love was Brian Dawkins.
Oh yeah, God, yeah.
He's just.
Got to be.
It's funny because what he did on the field and the emotion and the heart that he has, and he poured it all out, and that's blue collar. That's Philadelphia. The fans
Yeah.
are gonna love you if you put 110% out on that field, and you go hard to try to win. You didn't win the championship with them, but he was just so good, and what he did on the field, just the black visor and everything, and the
Yeah, he
hits
was a
made.
very intimidating player.
Yeah.
He just embodied everything of
Yeah.
Philadelphia football. I mean, he was as just smash mouth as it got. Him and Ed Reed, to me, are just two of just the greatest to ever do it, let alone in their own teams. Yeah, good call on there, Brian Dawkins. Scary man. Well, Johnny, thank you for sitting down with me. Again, guys, if you're seeing this, go check Johnny's squad out. It's all about the birds at AAT Birds. You guys got an awesome following, so we'll definitely be keeping our eye on you for the rest of the season. I'm Billy Truelove with Podcast 1558 for Matt Bird and Justin Herrera. Not with me tonight. We will see you next week, and go Chiefs.
Go Birds.